The metallic clang of a wrench hitting concrete echoed through my garage. Seconds later, the street outside looked like a war zone. Sirens screamed, red and blue lights painted the houses, and a SWAT team lined up in my driveway, weapons at the ready. All because HOA President Karen Blakemore picked up her phone and told the police I was stockpiling weapons in my garage. She didn't know the governor himself was quietly watching from the corner and that her little ambush was about to implode in front of the entire neighborhood. My name's Daniel Ross. I used to be a GM engineer before I started contracting for government vehicle projects. Nothing glamorous, just long hours in my converted two-car garage restoring classic Mustangs and more recently working on a black limousine that was less family sedan and more mobile fortress. Bulletproof glass run-flats, comms systems tied into state-level command centers. The kind of car you don't see unless you're either very important or very much in danger. For months, I'd kept my head down, honoring my NDA, making sure the work was perfect. And then Karen decided I was her newest target. Karen had run Willowbrook Estates HOA for 8 years, like it was her personal kingdom. Perfectly coiffed blonde hair that didn't move in the wind, yoga outfits that screamed money but never sweat, and an obsession with rules that would make a drill sergeant blush. She measured grass with rulers, handed out violation notices like party favors, and judged neighbors in front of the mailboxes like it was her royal court. She lived in the biggest house on the block with useless marble columns that shouted, "Look at me, I'm in charge." She came for me 6 weeks before the ambush. Walked up my driveway like Patton surveying enemy ground and announced that smell of motor oil is reducing property values by 15%. I told her politely it wasn't toxic. I had the permits and restoring cars was legal. She didn't care. Karen didn't want explanations. She wanted submission. Soon, the violation letters started. Too much noise, garage open too long, unapproved commercial activity. One evening, she marched up with 2 HOA board members and gave me an ultimatum: 48 hours to clear out, or she'd use every legal resource at her disposal to shut me down. I laughed at the time, but when I looked at my wife Emily's worried face and saw my son Max staring at me from the window, I felt that knot in my chest. Max asked me the next day, "Dad, why can't you just tell the mean lady you're working for important people?" I didn't have an answer I could give him without breaking federal law. That was the moment doubt crept in. I'd been through plenty in my career, but fighting an HOA president who thought she was judge, jury, and executioner, that was new, and she escalated fast. She showed up one afternoon with a man in a gray suit who claimed to be from city planning. His name was Marcus Webb. He rattled off zoning laws like he was reading from a badly memorized Wikipedia article, mixing up industrial zones with residential codes. I asked him for ID. He stammered. Emily, peeking from the kitchen window, caught every second on video. Later, she checked the codes he cited. Half were outdated, the rest didn't apply. Still, the pressure was working on me. One night, I sat at the dining table staring at a 20-page violation notice, each page covered in bogus citations and grainy photos of my garage. 47 separate infractions. My stomach turned. For a second, I thought maybe I should pack it up, move the project to some industrial park, keep my family out of this mess. Emily reached across the table and grabbed my hand. Don't let her win. Bullies rely on people giving up. She started live streaming everything Karen did, creating a little Facebook page called Garage Under Siege. A few neighbors followed just to see the drama. I thought it was pointless. Turns out it saved us. Because then came the twist. At 7 in the morning, our neighbor Mrs. Patterson knocked on the door. 72 years old, retired librarian, quiet as a mouse normally. She held out a USB drive with trembling hands. "I recorded last Tuesday's emergency HOA meeting," she whispered. "You need to hear this." On the recording, Karen's voice was clear as day. "We need Daniel Ross out of here before he starts asking questions about our casino project. If we have to manufacture violations, then that's what we'll do." Casino project. I dug deeper. Davidson, our county commissioner, had been funneling HOA money into a shell company run by his wife. 200 grand of our dues vanished into consulting fees. Cross-referencing land records, it became obvious they were planning a casino development. Eminent domain seizures. Karen's role: drive down property values, harass residents, force people to move. My garage wasn't a threat to the neighborhood, it was a threat to their conspiracy. Max unknowingly gave us the final piece. He'd filmed Karen and Webb sitting in her BMW rehearsing their intimidation before they came to our door. When I enhanced the audio, her arrogance dripped through. "He's just a mechanic. People like that don't fight back, they just move away." That did it. The doubt burned off. I wasn't moving, I wasn't quitting. If they wanted a fight, they were going to get one. Friday at 1 o'clock, Karen convened a grand community meeting at the clubhouse. 60 people in folding chairs, Karen at the podium in a red blazer, slides projected on the wall. She strutted like a prosecutor, accusing me of running a commercial operation, endangering safety, destroying property values. She clicked through photos of my garage, quoting laws that had nothing to do with Virginia. I raised my hand. "Mrs. Blakemore, could you cite the specific section of Virginia Municipal Code that prohibits automotive restoration in a private garage?" She froze, flipped her papers, and blurted out, "California Vehicle Code Section 22651. "We live in Virginia." The murmurs started. People pulled out their phones, fact-checking in real time. Then Mrs. Patterson stood. Her librarian voice cut through the room. "Karen, where is the $200,000 in missing HOA fees?" The room went dead silent. Karen stammered, turned red, snapped that this wasn't about finances. But the tide had turned. Neighbors whispered, people walked out. Emily's live stream went from 300 to 3,000 viewers in minutes. Karen panicked. At 2:47 p.m., with my mysterious client due at 3, she dialed 911 in the parking lot, shouting into her phone about terrorists and weapons in my garage. By 2:52, 6 squad cars and a SWAT van screeched into my driveway. Neighbors followed like it was a parade. Emily's live stream spiked to 15,000. Karen pointed dramatically. "That's the garage. There are explosives in there." I walked out in my cleanest work shirt, hands visible. Officer Mitchell, leading the team, asked for cooperation. I nodded. "Of course. Just show me a warrant." He turned to Karen. "Ma'am, can you provide details about what you saw?" Her story collapsed instantly. She hadn't seen weapons, just smelled chemicals and heard metal. The officers exchanged looks. The crowd muttered, and then, right at 3 o'clock, the garage door rolled open. Out glided the black limousine, glossy armored, terrifyingly official. But what made the crowd gasp wasn't the car, it was the man who stepped out of the driver's seat. Governor William Hayes. Every phone dropped silent. Every cop lowered their weapon. Karen looked like she'd seen a ghost. The governor's voice was calm, steady. "This is a classified state vehicle maintenance facility operating under Department of Motor Pool authorization. I trust you're not planning to arrest me for retrieving state property." Karen's face drained to white. I handed the governor a folder, financial records, the USB with her recordings, Max's enhanced video. He flipped through calmly, then looked straight at Karen. "Would you care to explain how $200,000 in HOA fees ended up funding Commissioner Davidson's casino project?" Karen made a sound like a punctured tire. That's when Marcus Webb, the fake city planner, shuffled out of hiding and practically begged to cooperate. He confessed everything: bribery, intimidation, impersonating officials. It was over. FBI units were already raiding Davidson's office. Livestream comments exploded, 50,000 people watching suburban justice unfold in real time. And right there in my driveway, Karen Blakemore, the queen of HOA tyranny, was cuffed and shoved into the back of a federal vehicle while the same neighbors she'd bullied for years stood watching. Her reign ended in silence. No applause, no cheers. Just the dull click of handcuffs and the realization that intimidation only works until someone stands up and refuses to move. Some battles can't be won with fake authority. And the biggest mistake Karen ever made was underestimating the determination of an ordinary family that decided enough was enough.